Okay. Good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to all of you for joining us today. My name is Archana Sakpal, and I'm a senior corporate trainer at Exaltius. This entire month, we are exploring a very powerful theme, building autonomous capabilities with agentic AI systems, especially with Claude AI. And if you have joined us last week, you would have seen how we have moved from simple prompts to some multi-step reasoning and we explored some Claude AI skills, which has been presented by Shilpa. And now today we are taking this particular journey one more step further. But before that, let me ask you all a quick question. How many of you have opened ChatGPT or Claude and asked some if very interesting prompt and you have got a very interesting answer? And then after that next day, you had to start from scratch because you open a new chat and you had to re-explain everything, re-upload files, and reset the context. Now it feels really like less working with an intelligent system and more like dealing with someone who keeps on forgetting overnight what has happened. So instead, what if you have AI which remembers your work, understands your goal, and evolves with you over time? That's exactly what we are going to do explore today with this particular webinar, Building Persistent AI Workspace with Claude AI. In today's session, we will see how we can create this long-running AI workspaces by maintaining context across different sessions, and also, most importantly, how do we move from one-time responses to something which is ongoing conversation. Plus, I will also introduce you all something really powerful with Claude that's called as artifacts, where AI is not only responding you in a plain chat format, but it actually creates some structured and usable output like document plans and even websites, right? Okay. By the end of this session, you will definitely start looking at this AI tool, not just as an AI tool, but something as a working partner in your daily workspace. All right. But before we actually dive into this, a quick note to share that with Exaltius, we are continuously bringing you all these practical AI sessions like this. And so please do stay tuned with us to watch more exciting webinars, which is lined up on in this particular month. Okay. Now, when I'm talking about evolution of AI assistant, let me also discuss about the problems. So what happens is you must have, I mean, how many of you have experienced issues like where you are asking similar questions to chatbots that you have earlier asked, and then you have to re-explain everything again, re-upload your files, and let it rewrite your instructions again. And that's exactly the problem here, right? What happens with the traditional AI chats? You have to AI completely forgets your context. It keeps on you need to keep on repeating instruction. Your file gets disappear. It forgets your files, and there is no long term work. So what happens is the work really never get progresses, and that's exactly a problem here. And mean my AI is working as a one time assistant. But what if you want AI could actually remember your work and grow with you, right? That's exactly what we are going to solve today, and with a very powerful tool called as Claude AI. So now what is Claude AI basically? Claude AI is an AI assistant developed by Anthropic, and it's designed for working with information. It's a very powerful tool where it understands document better, and it has a lot of benefits because it just don't answer questions but do a lot of things like, as I mentioned, understanding documents. It generates content. It works with code. You can write and debug your code. You can analyze your data and build structured outputs. So I can say that it is a workspace assistant for knowledge work, right? If you want to see the Claude basically interface of Claude, it looks something like this. So in this case, if you look at my screen, this is a web version of it. And with Claude, you can actually work in two different ways. One is a web version where you can use this particular URL, claudeai.new, and you can log in. In this, if you look at my screen, I'm already using a free plan here, which is my web version. And I also have a desktop version where I have my desktop version also where I'm using the Pro plan. And I find desktop app is quite useful because it's quite faster to access and keeps your work focused and there are no distraction, right? Functionally, both are similar. It is more about how you prefer to work. For me, I have configured two plans here. One is Pro plan and one is free plan. And the Pro plan is basically I'm using on my desktop app. Now, Claude has basically three different plans. If you can see my screen, it has three different plans, which is free plan, pro plan, and max plan. Free is good for getting started and doing lighter tasks. Pro is better for better work because it has higher limits. And max is for heavy usage where you need more power and quite priority accesses. So one important thing everyone should know here that Claude works on this token or usage system. So what happens? It basically your usage resets over the time, and in the free plan it tends to reset faster, but if you're doing lighter tasks, then you can actually use it comfortably without hitting the limits too quickly, right? Now moving back to the Claude ecosystem, if you look at it, Claude has three different ecosystem. One is Claude Chat, the other one is Claude Code, and the final one is Claude Cowork. Now Claude Chat is something Claude AI itself, which we are going to focus on today's session because it's something, a chatbot, which is quite intelligent assistant, which helps you to understand the context, reason through the problems, and guide your steps better. Second thing is we have Claude Code, which is like an engineer. If I say Claude Code Chat is a brain, then Claude Code is like an engineer where it can help you write, understand, and debug the code. It really builds apps. So that's something very effective and useful for those who are into development or those who wanted to build automation tasks. And Claude Cowork is where Claude really stands out, I would say, because it collaborates with a lot of files and folder system. It handles a task like writing, planning, analysis, and ongoing work. So I would say just it is not just responding, but it's actually working alongside you. So these are very powerful capabilities, and each of them can be explored in much more depth. But, and of course, if you are interested, we can do a separate session focused on Claude Code and Claude Cowork as well, because please do write us in the comment if you really want us to add more practical content on these topics. But for today, I'll focus on Claude AI chat. Okay, now in this Claude AI chart, if you look at my screen, I'm discussing about Claude project because that's the main focus of today's topic. And we needed to clearly understand what is this Claude project. What is Claude Project? It's basically your personal AI workspace where your work does not get reset. It continuously evolve over the time. So instead of you starting fresh every time, Claude remembers your context because you have uploaded your file, you have given it instruction, and then it becomes very easier for Claude to maintain that context in there and work accordingly. Let me take one example here and explain you this diagram which I have plotted here. Let's say we are building a training program, right? And understand that we will understand this example with this diagram, which is quite structured and step by step, where in the first step, I'm focusing on goal. Now, the goal is something we are already creating in a mind that I wanted to create content, or I wanted to do research or plan the business idea. So instead of asking some random question, I'm already have a clear direction, correct? Now, after having clear goal, you start creating your project where the main focus is in the center box. Inside this project, you do three important things. First, you set the project instruction. Now, what is instruction? It's nothing but your system prompt, which you define, where you define things like the tone of the LLM or the style or the goal. Basically, here you define what do you want, how your AI should respond, the tone, format, style, everything. And you set this only once. There's no repetition is needed. Secondly, you have files and knowledge. What does that mean? You upload your files that is specific to your project. For example, if I want to design a training program as a trainer, I would need to focus on some previously generated course material or some reference document or some sample contents. That would be easier for me to develop a new training program, right? So I'll be uploading these type of files, which can be Word document, PDF document, or any notes, right? Claude uses all of these as a reference every time. You don't need to re-upload these documents again and again. And finally, we have something called as conversation, which resides inside your project. So every time you come back, you have these conversations there, and every new chat that you're asking it to your project, it's basically taking help of that because it has previously trained on it. And every time this new interaction builds up on the previous work. That's something super amazing. Now, what's happening here is you're not just asking the question anymore, you're setting up the overall environment where AI understands your work deeply. right? So when you combine these instructions, files, and conversations, right, you are getting something very powerful called as persistent context, right? We are building persistent context, which is very important nowadays for this Claude, for any chatbot, so that we are avoiding repeatedly writing the same thing again and again as a part of prompt. Right. And finally, I have this final step, which is outputs, and you will amazed to see how Claude AI is generating outputs. It's in a different format. As I prior mentioned, that Claude is super good when it comes to document handling, and it does generate output in any kind of format like ideas, reports, plans, and so on. So this is about your dedicated AI workspace where you're evolving it with the work, correct? Now, let's focus on the next part, that what are the key capabilities and real life use cases of this Claude project? Okay, and how it is making this Claude project super powerful, right? There are four important things I would be mentioning here. Is one is multi-document, where normally you give AI one input at a time, but here you can upload multiple files and Claude understand everything together. That's your multi-document. Second, persistent context means, this is something I really like about Claude. That you don't have to repeat yourself again and again. Claude remembers your instructions, your files, and your previous conversation. Then comes your custom instruction. You can define how you want AI to behave just once, and Claude will follow this consistently across your work. Then comes iterative workflows. Here, what happens is, in iterative workflow, you are not getting one time answer anymore. You're building, refining, and improving over the period of time. Okay, so basically, this is ideal for any task that evolves over time, from asking questions to managing ongoing work. Right now, where can you use these projects? Some real-time examples I'll share you here, that you're building it here. The first one is personal career coach. So here, this remembers your, if you are trying to talk about personal career coach, that remembers your resume, LinkedIn, and helps with interview prep. Then you have a smart travel planner where you are keeping your itineraries, bookings, and travel rules in one place. Then comes a family health hustle studio where all reports, prescription, and notes stays organized. Or you can talk about personal learning coach that grows with you, which is managing notes, practices, and revision. So that's about how you can use these projects, where these are some real life examples that I have shared here to build. You please do try these particular real life examples and try to develop projects by your own, right? Then comes, what are artifacts? Now, let's focus on something. Now let's focus on the artifacts. Something really powerful in Claude is artifact. I would say it's another feature that Claude is using. And okay, I'm sorry. What are artifacts here? Let's continue. Sorry for the disturbance. We are going to continue with understanding what is artifacts. Let's focus on something which is very powerful tool, which Claude AI provides us. And this is nothing but a separate feature inside Claude AI, and that allows us to create interactive and structured output, not just plain text. Normally, what happens, AI gives you response in the form of paragraphs, bullet points, suggestions, or plain text, right? But with artifacts, what happens, you get things like a formatted document, a presentation, a mini tool, or even a simple web page. This is something my personal favorite, and I use artifacts a lot. You will also use it once you will see what are the features of this particular tool. For example, let me, if I ask that, okay, go ahead and create quiz and on so and so topic, instead of just describing quiz question, it will create a quiz for you with just nice UI. So that's the key idea here. It produces the output in a very good format, and they are tangible outputs, something you can directly use, edit, or share. Right. So with Artifact, you can create training plans, reports, presentations, and even website that will not be as static content, but quite structured and usable outputs. With our websites, you can even make them dynamic, interactive by writing suitable prompts, right? So overall, if you are on this slide, please try to understand that projects is nothing but your workspace, and artifact is what you build inside that workspace, right? And on this note, I'm going to start building something live. So there is a live demo which I'll be discussing now. Now, I'm going to do two things here. First, I'll create a project, which is something about, I mean, I have already built one, which I will show you, and then I'll build something from scratch. And then I'm going to discuss about artifacts. So let me start with a project that I have already built, and then I'll come back to discuss about the artifacts. Okay. Yeah. I hope you all can see my screen where I'm using Claude uh, AI, but this time I'm using a pro plan here, which is my company plan, and I already have a sample plan, say a free plan as well. Let me be very clear before discussing this further. The projects or the artifacts or the skills, whatever you are building in Claude AI, that is very much manageable in the free plan as well, which Shilpa has discussed in the previous sessions also, and in the pro plan also. The only benefit of having pro plan is it with pro plan, the token usage, token resetting things will be quite longer window, right? You know, it doesn't reset it faster because it's all about your different plan that you're using. So I'm going to show you here how I have created one project which is already built here, and that project is this. So how do you go ahead with it? Just to begin with, and to I don't want to directly jump on the projects part. You understand the interface. It's very similar to any other chatbot. If you look at here, because this is a desktop application, I have installed Claude Chat, I've installed CoWork, and I've installed Code as well. Now, what happens is in the CoWork, I mean, these are all you need to proactively, I mean, separately install it in here. CoWork is something where I mentioned earlier. It's a part of the ecosystem where it works as an assistant which helps you with a lot of things, especially with the files and folders. And code is something where I can design my code from scratch. My focus is here on the chart part, and I will start explaining you now how to create project. Let's click on this project. And you can see here that there's a button over here where you can click and create a new project. When you click on new project, you have to do a couple of steps one by one. You have to complete some steps and that will build a project. But before that, I will explain you something which I have created, and that's your corporate workshop design studio. Now, why did I took this particular use case here? Because in real world, what happens as a trainer, and when we conduct this corporate training, and once we finish our meeting with client after understanding the requirements, the main issue is developing the content. We have a couple of files need to be prepared, like a course outline, learner's guide, presentation slides, lesson plan, and so on. And all of these need to be very consistent, structured, and should be aligned with each other. Now, doing this thing manually really takes time. It requires constant referencing, and it maintains maintaining consistency is quite difficult over there. So instead of doing these things separately, like if I have one project to design, one content to develop, now I'm writing the prompts for it, and again I'm going to do redo things for a separate project, then that's not a good idea. Here, project will solve that problem. I created one project workspace which will manage all my job in one particular place itself. So what I have done is I have given this name to that project, and this is the description that I have given to this project, and then there is an instruction. You can see the instruction is quite comprehensive. I did not write this prompt by my own. I did took help of AI chatbot to write this prompt because this is something we should be learning as a part of a very important topic called as prompt engineering, where we are aware that there's something called as meta prompting, where we are asking AI to create prompt for us, which is quite effective. And here you can see this prompt is quite effective, where I'm setting the role also for this particular bot. It is telling for what purpose I'm sharing the context, for what purpose I'm building this particular content. And I have given a couple of instructions here, like follow the uploaded templates, etc., etc. After that, there are 3 documents for which I have written clear instructions, like for learner's guide, what are the steps that you need to follow, for course outline, what are the steps you need to follow, and for lesson plan, what are the steps that you need to follow. And they are quite comprehensive here, quite clear. At the end, I have written use a professional training structure suitable for corporate workshops and adult learners, and then ensure that it is practical, interactive, and so on. Right? Now, after setting this prompt, I have uploaded these files. if you can see that I'm using our company Exaltius learner's guide template, course outline template, and lesson plan template. These are something which is pre-built documents following the template clearly and have some sample content so that this LLM can get help of and will create the content accordingly. Now, every time I work inside this project, Claude will not have to, I don't have to upload the templates again. It will maintain the consistency and it will help me to build faster because there are some conversations already saved, right? Now, if, like, for example, after I did this, I have asked it to create one day agentic AI course outline which it has prepared. You can see here, and then I can show you the actual output, that how does it appears. Of course, the output that it has generated is quite closely following the template that I have shared plus the instruction that I have shared. You can see here, but I'm not going to present it as it is. You know that as a part of responsible AI features, we always tell our participants and all the audiences over there that there's something called as human review is really important. So I'm going to review this document and I'm going to use it and share it to my client after making necessary changes, right? Now that's about something which has already been built, right? Now I'm not going to stop here. I'm going to teach you how we are going to create a project. And for that, I have taken relatively easier use case called as resume builder, you can say. So basically the scenario is pretty simple. You're preparing for a job interview and you have your resume ready with you, but you're not sure whether the resume is perfect, all the skills are added over there, and more importantly, is it really aligned with the job you're applying for? Now, normally what happens, we are taking help of AI chatbot where we are asking question about how to prepare for interview question for a so and so role. But then it becomes all over the places and the process becomes completely messy, right? So what we can do here is we will create a project called as Resume Assistant project, and where I will set the instructions and upload my resume, and then I'm going to ask certain questions to it. So let me click on new project, and I'm going to give this project a name called as Resume Assistant. And then I'm going to give a description. The description is pretty straightforward. An AI-powered assistant to analyze resume, suggest improvements, and generate interview insights, and then click on Create Project. Now, this will create a project and which will Okay, this has created this project, which is showing you this one window where you can upload the instructions and files furthermore. I'm going to give instruction, pretty simple instruction so that I'll get output faster. But trust me, if you write effective instruction or prompt, you will get that effective response. My instruction is pretty simple. You are a career coach, analyze resume and suggest improvements, identify missing skills, generate interview question and keep responses simple and actionable. I'll save this instruction and then I'm going to upload my resume here. I mean, I'm not uploading my resume here. I'm uploading something which I have created a sample document. Okay, and this is that resume. Now, based on this resume, I'm going to ask certain questions. The first question, just to test if everything is okay, I'm going to ask it a pretty simple question that summarize this particular candidate's profile. And let me see how it is coming up with. This is some Mr. John Tan's candidate profile, and it's going to summarize me for. Now, after I understanding this candidate's profile, I can even go further and ask questions which is specific to the job description. You can see it has answered me that this is for John Tan. It is his profile is this is his current level, and so on. Now, if I ask it another question which is based on the job description, then it will give me even proper result because I wanted to align this person's profile with respect to the job which he wants to apply. So there is this sample I have created. This is the job role, job description, which is for junior data analyst, and this is the job description and all. And now I'm going to ask question that based on this resume and job description, generate 5 interview questions for me. Now, what it is coming up with is it's definitely going to generate. Now, because by the time it is generating, can you look at my screen? What Claude is doing in the background, it is actually showing me. You can see that's basically build a confidence to the users that, okay, I know what's happening here. Most of the chatbot don't do that, but this is a very good feature and it really rules out the transparency as a responsible AI feature where you know that people always think that is it's like a black box. I don't know what's happening, how I'm getting the response. But Claude is always giving you complete steps as if some human is sitting in the background and working for you. Okay, now you can see I have got 5 questions. And if you notice, let's take one example. In your internship at ABC company, you assisted with data cleaning. Walk me through a specific example. What SQL queries did you write? That means rest assured, we have used this particular project has used the content exactly what I have uploaded, and it is not doing any hallucination. And it is asking you questions based on that. And that's quite good to see, right? Now, hereafter, if I refine my prompt, even better, like if I wanted to create a good document, so I can actually write one powerful prompt here. And let me share you this. I have prepared the prompt earlier. So based on the resume and job description provided, create a structured interview preparation document, which includes 5 interview questions, strong sample answer for every question, keep answers simple, clean, and suitable for a junior candidate, and format it as a clean, ready to use document. And if I run hit button here, okay, before I do that, I mean, let me hit and then I'll explain you something about the models. Because I just missed that part. You can see that it has different models like Sonnet, it has Opus and Haiku. Based on your requirement, you can pick up the model here. And if you use it along with extended thinking, it's even better because it thinks longer for complex tasks. I would say Opus is the most expensive one. Sonnet is quite good for the default task, and Opus is if you have a very small task, then you can go for Opus. Got it? Now, meanwhile, it is generating because this is, and as I mentioned, please relate to it. It is actually telling you how it's preparing this response for you, which is really interesting. And by the time it is preparing this response, let me, because it takes time, obviously it will take some time. And meanwhile, I can actually give you some context with respect to my next demo, that's artifacts. So imagine that this person is applying for this job and the HR is asking him, can you share your portfolio or some profile page that you have? Now, not that everybody has their personal website ready, right? And building one from scratch is not easy. It takes time and it requires a quite good technical skills. So what people do, they can just go to the LinkedIn and they can just share their profile. You're aware, right? When you go to the LinkedIn, there is this option where you can click on save to PDF on your profile icon, and it actually gives you your PDF document of your, of your actual profile. Now, rather than I use that, why not create a very beautiful and very nice, interesting website for it? So let me take you all back to my screen. And you can see here the document is also prepared meanwhile. The interview preparation guide is ready and it's quite nice, right? You all will agree with me that it is quite good. And now I will take you all to the artifact part where I'm going to explain you how do you create artifact. As I just now mentioned that artifacts are something, a tangible output, which is in any format. And instead of just giving you text, Claude is really giving you some structured web pages or some structured documents. So to create that, you can go to the option at the left-hand side panel called as artifacts here. And you can see the artifact option here. I have already built it because it takes time. So I have decided that I will already prepare it and I will demonstrate you the final output. But don't worry, I'm going to explain you the steps to create this artifact. How? You can click on new artifacts. Okay. And in here, when you go to the next page, it's giving you multiple options or artifact category, which you can choose to go ahead. And we have apps and websites, we have document templates, we can design games, we can design some productivity tool, we can even create projects and quiz and surveys. Now, in this example, because I'm planning to prepare website, I'm going to choose apps and websites. Now, Claude has this settings already done, and it asks you typical questions based on which artifact you have selected. Now, because I selected apps and websites, it has already programmed and it's asking me these questions, that what kind of app or website you want, or what is it for, or who is it for. Now, what happens, what you can do it is basically you can answer this question, or you can generate, or you can produce a very strong prompt, and that prompt you can paste and let the Claude AI create it from scratch. Because anyways, when you're providing these responses, at the end you have to write your own prompt, which is giving you information about yourself, right? So I have pasted this prompt, okay, which I have already written, and then I'm going to add the profile that I have already downloaded from my LinkedIn page, right? And after that, I'm just writing that create a web page or website based on this prompt. And let's hit the run button. Uh, it will take some time because it's actually, you can see amount of code it is writing. And trust me, creating such websites in few seconds is something really, really magical, because as a developer, I know that how much time you're spending to design such websites, and the good part is it's showing you the entire code here. And if you happen to make some changes into this particular web page, it will even show you randomly where it is changing the prompt, and that's something seriously very good to observe, right? I will just take you all back to the artifacts page, and I'm going to show you the artifacts that, I mean, the output that I have received just by writing the same prompt. You all can see my screen. This is the artifact that it has earlier created for me. I will show you how do you publish it, and I'm going to show you how does it looks. You can even copy this link and share it to anyone. Okay, you can use it into the embedded code, and it's quite nice. I will share you all how does it looks like. So this is the page which I have previously created, and let me show you from scratch how beautifully it has created this. So you all can see this is a very effective website which is showing me the menu bar here. Then my name is appearing here, view my work, and everything is coming here. I'm not promoting myself. It is just that the output of this particular artifacts, and you can see that it's really amazing. I mean, you will take a lot of time to design these cards, to write down the style sheet code behind it and all, and it's super good. I mean, you can see how effective it has created. And if you'll go down, right, what I like is it has created these forms which you can make interactive also. You can add dynamic content into it, where you can connect it with some API, and you can get this information and store it, and later on you can respond them back. Isn't it interesting, right? So that's about my Claude artifacts. They are super powerful, and that's something you should be trying it. I'm sure you will definitely try this. All right. Okay. Let's conclude this session. Okay, I will just end the session now. Okay. All right. Give me a minute. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Yeah. Okay, so I will just have a quick recap of what I have planned and what I have delivered with you all, guys. Basically, we started with this workspace, persistent workspaces, then Claude projects. Then I did discuss with you all about artifacts, some context-rich workflows, and then we have taken real-world use cases, and we have taken this powerful live demo, which might have cleared the things from your mind that, okay, basically, how do we actually explore this Claude projects and artifacts, right? Finally, we saw everything in action, and I hope you will try out these things. And for such hands-on activities and insightful sessions, please do keep an eye on our upcoming webinar, which is going to happen on May 20th and May 28th, where we are again talking about agentic workflows and autonomous AI systems. That's basically with OpenClaw, even powerful feature. And on that note, thank you everyone for taking out time and for joining this session. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them into the chat box. I would be happy to discuss. And finally, please do join us back again for our upcoming sessions. Looking forward to seeing you all again soon. Thank you and have a great evening. Stop share.